one of these around for years, but have discovered that actually it cramps my style. I'm going to take a slightly different approach, as you would expect from that old photo guy. So in the past, like everybody else, I've carried one of these around, but I'm a beach photographer. I explore beaches and take photographs. It's as simple as that. And one of the biggest enemies to a beach photographer is soft sand. And if you try and put your tripod into soft sand, it's very difficult to find anything secure. Sometimes you have to push it in so far, and then you've got all the cleaning and everything else. So for me, it's just not worth it. I'd much rather shoot handheld. Oh, look at that, sand everywhere. One of the problems with the tripod, of course, is it's just awkward to use in confined spaces. And it's very difficult to set up. You know, none of the settings seem to actually work. So on this one, I can have the legs at this angle or at this angle. And obviously I can adjust the length, but I'm then fiddling around with the angle on the ball head as well. And it's just, you know, it just takes ages. So in those sort of small, intimate spaces, the tripod just doesn't work for me. This would be so much easier without having to set up a tripod, but I'm going to give it a go. So I think I'm going to have to change the leg settings so you don't split so wide apart. What I'm trying to do is get this shot through the gap here, which leads out across the bay towards Polcaris. So yeah, I'm just going to try and set it all up. Now, you know, rocks are uneven, so leg lengths seem to have to be at different lengths. If you do use a tripod, always lower the lower parts of the leg first. Oh, it's got so much sand in it now. That's going to need a wash off. So I can try and get the right angle. The other thing to watch out for, believe it or not, is seaweed. It is so slippery. So you have to really make sure you've got a firm setting. Now I know for a fact that I can't put my camera on there and get the shot that I want. In actual fact, I need to be closer over this way. And oh, I've got all this seaweed here. Cracky, it's not easy, is it? Anyway, there we go. I think that's about right. Okay, I do find myself in some awkward places. Anyway, let's get the camera out, pop that on the tripod, see what we can achieve. Okay, there's a dodgy bit. It's just trying to get the camera on the tripod, isn't it? And I'm always fearful, of course, that because of the slippery nature and the uneven rocks, it's just going to fall off and tumble down into the water. So okay, let's see if we can use the flip up screen just to, oh boy, this is so awkward. Right, okay, I need to adjust that down there. I might compress that a little bit so we can get more of the canyon in shot. Currently I'm on f8 at 1/500th, which seems to be about right. I'm going to have to move the focus point over, which I can do on the screen on the Sony, of course. Ah, crikey, here we go. That's one shot. Now, if I want to change that slightly, I've got a real problem. And what I'm doing here is demonstrating how difficult it is to use a tripod in these really intimate little spaces. In fact, I'm going to give up with the tripod and go handheld. Well, camera's off the tripod at last, so let's see what we can do. At least I'll be able to get up on the rock. Whoops. And I'm able to sort of move my camera around just to get the composition that I'm after. So I'm just going to kneel down. Excuse my back. Now I might want to move a little bit to the right. And I've got space. I wouldn't have been able to put the tripod here without a lot of faffing around. Ah, there's a dog in the distance. Typical Mr. Dog. So, the versatility, handheld, amazing. Now you know why I ditched the tripod. So, already I can hear you saying, I can't do without a tripod. It's the only way I can get a steady, sharply focused shot. So there's a few handheld techniques that you can use, and I'm going to do a video very shortly about handheld techniques, which are especially useful at the beach. But basically it all boils down to one simple thing. Well, you need a really good solid base so that you can hold the camera securely in your left hand. My left hand is supported by my knee, which obviously is supported by my left foot. All my weight is going through to my left foot and I'm balanced using my right knee. So it's not very complicated. The other thing, of course, is very often people shoot with a slow or relatively slow shutter speed. So make sure you've got an appropriate shutter speed. So today I am on 1/250th at f8. And I know that is going to be really nice and sharp. Anyway, as I said, more to come in another video. The other trick, of course, is to put your camera on a rock. Simple as that. The other thing you might want to consider about one of these is how much of an impact does it have on your creative vision? You know, how does it affect the shots that you're taking? In fact, if you've used a tripod a lot, can you think of any time when that tripod has actually stopped you from getting the shot that you wanted because you're busy trying to adjust the legs, the feet, just to get the tripod in the right place, and the moment is gone? Used to happen to me, doesn't happen anymore. I guess it's important to realise that using a tripod has the effect of actually slowing us down and taking our time over compositions. But generally I find in a busy beach environment at a coast like a Cornish coast, there's so much happening all the time. You know, light changes, tides coming in, going out, reflections changing. There's so much going on that actually a lot of shots are quite impetuous almost. You know, they're actually in the moment. And in the moment is the important thing about your photography, whatever photography you do. It's actually those times when you're completely absorbed by what you're doing that is the important thing. And if a tripod helps you do that, then brilliant. But I would argue what it stops you doing is actually being quite impulsive, quite intuitive and creative sometimes. You know, sometimes you can be prevented from your creativity because you're using a tripod. So there are times when I do use a tripod, unbelievably, and those times are when I'm doing long exposures. But otherwise, no need to use a tripod. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye.